Cuffs and Kisses, The Edge of Control, Part 3. Ryan didn't know what was more dangerous, the world of criminals he was supposed to be policing, or the fire that Jax sparked inside him. As much as his mind screamed at him to stay focused, to be the law, his body betrayed him every time Jax was near. But as he pulled away from their kiss that afternoon, Ryan had a hard time convincing himself it was a one-off. The intensity of their moment wasn't something he could just forget. The next few days were torture. Ryan's mind raced through the scenarios. He should be hunting criminals, yet all he could think about was Jax, what it meant, where it would lead, and how it could ruin his career. Sarah had noticed a change. He had been more distracted, more distant. She was beginning to ask questions he wasn't ready to answer. "You okay, Mikhail?" Sarah asked, leaning over the desk they shared in the station the next morning. "You've been off. And I'm not talking about your usual brooding cop vibe." Ryan barely looked up from the file he was pretending to read. "Yeah, just dealing with some personal stuff." "Personal stuff?" Sarah repeated, narrowing her eyes. "Uh-huh, sure. What kind of personal stuff? You got a new pet or something?" Ryan forced a chuckle. "I wish. But no, just work stuff, Sarah. Can't talk about it right now." "Uh-huh." She raised an eyebrow, clearly unconvinced. "Whatever you say, Mikhail, but if you need someone to talk to—" "I don't," he interrupted, his voice sharper than he meant it to be. Sarah didn't back off, but she got the hint and went back to her own desk, though Ryan could feel her suspicious gaze on him the rest of the day. By the time the shift ended, Ryan was too wired to sleep. He couldn't get the image of Jax's eyes out of his mind, the way his lips had felt on his, the way he made Ryan forget all his duties as a cop. But the more Ryan tried to convince himself it was just a momentary lapse, the more he realized that what he and Jax had wasn't just a kiss. It was something more. And the more he thought about it, the more he realized it was something he couldn't just walk away from. He grabbed his keys and headed out the door, heart pounding as he drove to the park once again. Jax was waiting at the same spot they'd met before, leaning casually against a tree. This time, though, he wasn't smiling. There was a cool, dangerous edge to him as he glanced up, his expression unreadable. Ryan hesitated for a moment, but then crossed the street, feeling the weight of his decisions pressed down on him with every step. He wasn't sure what he was doing here, but he knew he couldn't keep staying away. "You came back," Jax said, his voice soft but somehow still carrying an edge. "Yeah, I did." Ryan exhaled sharply, trying to clear the tension from his body. "I'm not sure why, but I had to. I can't stop thinking about you." Jax pushed off the tree, taking a step toward Ryan, his gaze intense. "I told you, you don't have to stop. Not with me." Ryan's stomach fluttered. There was something about Jax's presence that made everything else fade into the background. This isn't who I am," Ryan said, struggling to make sense of it. "I'm a cop. I'm supposed to uphold the law. And you—" "I'm not asking you to throw away your badge," Jax interrupted, his voice calm but firm. "But you're also not asking me to stop being who I am. We both have our own worlds. Doesn't mean they can't collide." Ryan ran a hand through his hair. He was losing control. This was losing control. And part of him was okay with it. "Why are you doing this?" Ryan asked, his voice shaking slightly. "You could get arrested. You're a criminal, Jax. I'm supposed to bring you in." Jax smiled, but it wasn't a cocky smile. It was genuine, almost tender. "Because, Ryan, you're not the only one who's tired pretending." Ryan's heart skipped a beat. He wanted to argue, wanted to fight the urge to lean in, but he didn't. Not this time. "I don't know what you want from me," Ryan muttered, his breath coming in ragged bursts. "I can't just—" Jax stepped forward, cupping Ryan's face in his hands. "You don't have to know, Ryan. You just have to feel it." Before Ryan could say anything else, Jax kissed him again, harder this time, his lips hungry and demanding. Ryan's body responded without hesitation, hands reaching up to tug Jax closer, pulling him in as if they could melt into each other. It wasn't just passion. It was an explosion of something deeper. It was about giving in to something they both knew they shouldn't want, but did. Ryan didn't know where the line was anymore, but right now, There was no difference between cop and criminal. There was only the moment, and the undeniable pull between them. When they finally pulled apart, both of them were breathing heavily, eyes locked in a silent understanding. "I can't keep doing this," Ryan whispered, his forehead resting against Jax's. "But I can't stop either." Jax chuckled softly, his hand slipping down to Ryan's waist. "Then don't. Let's just see where it goes." Ryan took a deep breath, feeling like he was standing on the edge of something huge, something dangerous. "This is insane," he murmured. "Life's insane," Jax replied, smirking. "Might as well enjoy the ride." Back at the precinct, Ryan barely made it through the day. His mind kept wandering back to Jax, to that kiss, to the idea of stepping into a world where he could be himself, where he could feel. Sarah was still watching him, but now he didn't care. He couldn't care. He had a choice to make. And no matter how crazy it seemed, Jax was right. Some lines were meant to be crossed. That afternoon, as the sun began to dip below the horizon, Ryan sent a text to Jax. "I don't know what this is, but I'm in." Jax's reply came instantly. "Good. I'll see you tonight." And for the first time in what felt like forever, Ryan smiled. To be continued. And that's just the beginning for Ryan and Jax. Want to see what happens next in their story? Make sure to subscribe to Petals and Pride and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next chapter of Cuffs and Kisses. Because here at Petals and Pride, we believe love blooms in every color.